All right, class, so let's jump into the next one. So the next one is NumPy indexing. So again, click download. And then what you're going to do is you're going to open up your Colab. You're going to upload. And we're going to jump in from here. Okay, so we're going to start here. And okay, so we're going to continue with NumPy indexing and selection. So in this lecture, we'll discuss how to select elements or groups of elements from an array. And so they're going to be very similar to the way we did it for a list. So you're going to see a lot of the things very similar that are going to overlap with the list, which is good, right? We want to be able to recycle some of the concepts of the way understandings of being able to select some of the elements from a list. So we're going to do the same thing in an array. So the first thing that we want to do is always import NumPy, and we're going to import it, we're going to call it MP. So that way it makes it a little bit easier. Instead of writing NumPy every single time, we're just going to call it MP. And so what we're going to do, again, we're going to create an array object by using the function arrange, or maybe it could be, I'm not sure, it's probably a class, maybe. I don't think it's a class. It's probably just a function. And it's going to go from 0 to 11. So that's going to be selecting elements from 0 to 10, right? The last one is not included. And if we want to see it, right, we can just do RR. Right, so I'm going to run those two. It's taking a while. And you can see from 0 to 10. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to graph the element at the at index 8. So if I want to grab the element at index 8, so I can do RR at index 8, just the same way we did it for a list. And that gives you index 8, right? So that would be index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is index 8. So it's going to give us the element 8. If I want to get a sub array, so I would just do the same thing that we did for a list. So we can just do a slicing by using a colon. So we can say from 0 to 5, not including the 5, we're going to be able to extract the element. So this is grabbing from 0 to 5, not including the 5. That's from your index values. And so not including the last element. So that's going to generate, again, a sub array. And then we can do, I'm sorry, that was probably from 1 to, sorry, I meant to have from 1 to 5. Right, from index 1 to index 4. And this is going to be from index 0 to index 4. So that will be R start at 0. So you always include the first, the start, which is the 0 in this case, is inclusive. The last one, the end, is not. So if I want to include the 4, I need to go one more. So I need to go to the 5. Oops. I need to put a colon there. And there you go. Okay, so very similar to the way we did it for a list. Now, what I can do here is I can also set values. I can broadcast a value to specific entries in my array. So I can set values from 0 to 5, and I can set them to, or from 0 to 4, right, index 4, to a specific value like 100 if I want to. So that means that at index 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to have the value of 100. So I'm going to be replacing them with the value 100. And so if I run this That's going to give me 100, 100, 100, 100, the rest of the numbers. So that's broadcasting a value to a subgroup or a subsection of your array. I can, again, let's create, let's reset our array. So I'm going to do r equals np.arrange from 0 to 11. So that way I can have all the way to 10. And I'm going to print it out so we can see that we have our array. It's always good to double check that that's the information that you want, right? I already know that this is going to work, but it's always good to double check, right? Make sure that you have the outcome that you want, right? It's always good to do that. And especially with Colab, with this interactive programming IDE, is that you don't need to run the whole thing. You're just running one single line. So it makes it easier, right? That doesn't require that much delayed on running your program. So it's always convenient to do that. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to slice my array. So I'm going to grab a subsection. I'm going to call it slice of my array. And I'm going to go R from 0 all the way to 6. And I'm going to show you guys what we have, right? Again, always good to know what we have. And as you can see, we have from 0 to 5, right? We went from 0 to 6, but we don't include the last element. And let's change our slice. So let's say I want to change all the elements on my slice. So I'm going to change the slice. And I'm going to change them, all the elements. So that means that if I don't put it a start and end, means that it's going to start at the beginning and it's going to go all the way to the end of this array right here. So I'm going to change all of them to 99. So remember, 1 equal sign is to assign, 2 equal sign is to compare. And so if we look at our slice, oops. If we look at our slice arrange, now it has all 99s instead of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let's see what else can we do. Let's double check. This is still, if I want, let's see what happened to our R. So right now our R has been changed to this value right here, 99, 99, 99. So when we were doing a sub array, we actually changed some of those values. So we had them at 100 and now we had them at 99. So we were able to change some of those values in my RRR. So in this case, we were able to change the values. So we broadcast the values. So we changed it. As we were modifying the slice of R, we were also modifying the values of R. All right, so let's see. Let's make a copy of it. So we can use a copy. We can create a copy of our R by using the copy function. And we can see that our copy is going to look the same. And so now what we're gonna do here is now playing around with two-dimensional arrays, slicing a multiple two-dimensional arrays. So the general form of an array of 2 dimensions will be row, column, or row, column. You can either have them by row, bracket, column, or you can just have it as a row, comma, column. I recommend using the comma notation for more clarity. It's easier, more clear. But so let's see. So let's refresh our memory, right? We have an array of 2 dimensions. And we're gonna rearrange them, or we're gonna create our array. So we're creating an array, and we're gonna manually create this array of arrays. So we're going to have an array here of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 35, 40, 45. And let's see how our two-dimensional array looks like. And it does, right? So we have, this is going to be our first row, second row, third row. And so as you can see, we have our array. Now what we can do is we can actually access any specific element that we want by using the bracket. And so if I want to grab the first element of my matrix, that's going to give me my this is saying, right, remember, in my array, this is my item. So you can see, you can think about it as being a list. Just think about it as a list, right? Where this is my first element, this is my second element, this is my third element, right? But this is at index 0, index 1, index 2. So if I put a 1, I'm actually looking for the element at index 1. So it's going to give me the 20, 25. So if I run this, it's going to give me 20, 25, and 30. And if I want a specific element within this array, then I can use the second option, which is the column. So I can do array 2D, and again, it's going to be 1, or that's the index 1. And if I want the 20, I have to put index 0. So if I want to grab this element, I have to put index 0 there. And let's see if that gives me the 20. And it did. So that would give me the value that I want. Okay. So we could do it. Let's try it just with a comma. And let's see if we get the same thing. And we do, right? It doesn't matter if you do it this way or this way. You might be more familiar with this, but know that this looks a little more cleaner. But it can be at least sometimes confusing, right? But this sometimes maybe you're more comfortable using that one. So it depends, whatever you want, right? So I'm gonna change this back and copy this, put it right here to grab just with the comma. And then I'm gonna do the let's see here. We have we want to do a slicing, so we want to do a shape of 2 by 2 from the top right corner. So we want to grab a subsection of my matrix, and we want to grab the top right corner. So if I want to grab the top right corner, we have to use we have to think about it as rows and columns. So let's figure this out, right? So I'm gonna work on my array of 2 dimensions. So that's given, right? But I want to grab. Let's look at this. I want to grab the 10, the 15, the 25, and the 30. If I want to grab them, I need my my rows to be the first row, in other words, index 0 and index 1. So I need to grab the first 2 of them. So I have to do, remember, this is my row, comma, this is my column. I'm just going to put them right there so you can see it. So I wanted to go from index 0 all the way to index 1, but because the last number is not included, if I put 1, then it's not going to include index 1. So I need to put an index 2 so it also includes the index 1 row. So that includes this one right here. And then so that's for my rows. For my columns, I want to grab my index 1 and index 2. So I would have to start at index 1 and go all the way to the end of my array. So I don't have to put anything if I want to go all the way to the end. So I can just leave it blank, just the way we can leave this one blank because we're going to start in the beginning. So so I could put actually 3 here. Let me show you guys. So you can see that it's grabbing the top corner, the top right corner. And so you have 10, 15, 20, 25. I don't need to put the 0. I can just leave it blank. And I don't need to put the 3 because it's going to go all the way to the end. So if I do this, then I'm gonna get the top right corner. Okay. Now, if I want to grab the bottom row, the only thing I have to do is grab my last row, which is index 2. And if I want to grab, I could also do it. I could do it in a different way. If I want to grab the bottom row again, I could actually do it using slicing. So that would be my last row, and I can just say I want everything from my everything from my column. So this is telling I'm gonna go all the way to index to row 2, and I'm gonna grab everything there. So that's another way of doing it. I don't need to do it. I can do it either way like that. All right. Now again, we can also do the zeros that we did before. To D, and again MP dot zeros, and I'm gonna make a 10 by 10 0 array, and then I'm gonna have the length of my array, save with the shape of 1. So what this is going to give me is this is going to tell me the value of my second element on my tuple value on my shape. So if I run this, nothing's going to happen, but we can see what the value is if we want to. This is the advantage of having this Colab, this interactive IDE. So you can see that it's grabbing the size of 10. So this is a 10 by 10, but because I'm doing a shape 1, right? The shape is going to give me a tuple of 10, comma 10. And so what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the second entry of my tuple. And so if I want to see the whole thing, I can actually print every single element if I want to, or actually change values. Let's actually change values to our array. So I'm going to do a for loop in range of my length. So this is going to go from 0 to from 0 to 9. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign values to my array. And then see what we get. So what we're doing here is we're taking the value I that is going to range from 0 to 9, and I'm gonna save it on my on every column of my on every row of my matrix. So this is going to be all zeros, this is going to be all ones, it's going to be all twos, and so on and so on. Right? And then that's just to arrange values. We can do this in a different way by having a arrange 2D and have 2, 4, 6, 8, and we can assign for every row the value 2, 4, 6, and 8. And we can do the same thing with other numbers. If we want to have any other order, we can just write them in different order, like 6, 4, 2, and 7. And let's just create an arrays. More than anything, is just playing around by creating arrays. And then more in this scene, we can do let's see, R NP arrange 1, 11, just to make our arrange, right, our array. We're making the object, and here are some cool properties that we can use for an array. So this, we can create an array that inputs the value from the conditional statement. So we can have R, if it's greater than 4, we're gonna store the value true or false. So you can see here that the first numbers are gonna be false, and then anything after 5 all the way to 10 is going to be true. And we can also assign it to a Boolean array and have R greater than 4. This is the advantage, that you can actually create some very fast arrays using Numpy, and that's the advantage of using Numpy. And then we can do bool. As you can see, it does the same thing. Then we can do we can rearrange those values of an array with the Boolean values. So I can pass in the Boolean values with my true, and what it's gonna do